What is good, people? I hope you're all alright. I'm James, I'm an aspiring videographer, cinematographer, and in today's session I want to go over spec ads and how they can help you elevate your video game. They've definitely done that for me over the past years. So today I want to go over by breaking down a spec ad that I've put together. Now, just to put it out there and everything else, I am not affiliated with this brand. I originally put it out and hoped that maybe by putting it out I may have got some feedback or some callback from them. Spoiler alert, it didn't happen, but don't let that put you off. This is not just about things like that. It's to sharpen your tools, get better at what you're doing, and explore your creative side by doing something like this and getting yourself ready if you're wanting to get into working with the clients. So first, let's just get into the video, have a little look, see what you think, and after that we'll then go through it and I'll start breaking down each piece. Right guys, now we've got that out of the way and I hope you enjoyed it. Let's start from the top. So I just wanted to give a bit of background as to why I chose what I chose. Now, if you're anything like me and you got into videography through YouTube, you'll start to realise that there's a lot of trends and things like that will go around. So nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it can be a great way to inspire you to do certain things. So I will never stop you from doing that, guys. If that's what you want to do, get into it. Just start filming. That's the way you learn to do these things. And if you like a trend, there's no reason not to do it. It's a great reference to start learning things from. So I chose this spec ad because coffee seems to be a massive thing in the videography or filming space at times, especially on YouTube and things like that. And I decided I wanted to make something a little bit more, I don't know, local, akin to me, if you like. Now, I drink this brand, I enjoy it. Like I say, not affiliated with it or anything, but it's something that I thought potentially I might get something from, but also it's something that resonated with me and something I wanted to do, and I thought it would be really kind of cool. So starting from that kind of point there, what we'll look at is what's the first few steps, what I took and what I learned from them steps. Research. Now with this, it gives us an idea of what a client would want. So I decided to go onto the website and have a look and see what it was all about. And I started to notice that there were these really vibrant and bright colours and everything else on their website. So from that, I started to develop a bit of a picture of what to do and how to start, especially with colour schemes and everything else. We then took it to the next part, which was storyboarding. Now, storyboarding, I've come to actually love and enjoy. Sometimes if you're not a great artist, it can be quite hard, and I do have that storyboard. I literally drew it on paper. I now have a tablet where I draw my bits and bobs on, and sometimes that's a good way to send them off to clients and see whatnot, to show them and whatnot. But in this particular scenario, just to get an idea of the beats and what I wanted to do and just kind of put my vision down, and sometimes by storyboarding things out and putting them in order, it's a great way of getting yourself started. So with that being said, with them two prerequisites there, what a great way to get started, guys. Let's dive into the breakdown of the video. So first shot, as you can see, is an opening shot. So it's just a standard establishing shot, far away and things like that. And I just kind of wanted to do that to kind of straight away pull us into that. Now you will notice that we've obviously got the background, which is red. Now I had some issues with this. This was one of them things that, again, if you're working with a customer on set, it might be a lot harder. Luckily, when you're doing things with products, you probably can have a faff around. So what I'll do another video on this, which I've not done, but I did a lot of concept sharing, which was me just trying stuff out. And this is what spec ads are great for doing, is just trying your ideas out. And some things are going to work, some aren't. But nonetheless, what's going to happen from this is you're going to learn so much about what does and what doesn't work. This is the whole point, it's just getting the reps in, as they say. So from this, I originally decided to use a red background. In fact, that's a lie, I didn't. I actually tried to green screen first, and within the green screening, what I started to realise is that the glass I was using was speckled, and actually green screening through glass is nigh on impossible. Not only that, I was doing it on a shiny table, which you'll see at the end is quite reflective, and that was obviously bouncing up. So I'll do another video on green screen and the things that I learned from that, because I'll be honest with you, that's the first time I really tried to do something for that. I thought I'll just get the colour, I'll superimpose that colour on, I'll make it easy. But there were a lot of things, even for the the close-ups where there's blurring and all these kind of things that at the time, until you do it, and now I'm saying them to you, sound so like of course moments, like so common sense, I feel like. But sometimes if you've got a lot of things to think about while you're doing these spec ads, or even just these concepts or just filming stuff, sometimes you've got a lot more things to think about, and it takes these moments for you to have a aha moment, if that makes sense. So this is something that for me I struggled with, and we then went from that, or should I say I went from that, from the green screen to a red background. I just bought some red material and I put it on, and I thought I could adjust it enough that it would help. It would just literally, I could get the colour in, I could adjust it enough and it would work. Again, that wasn't the case. I could only push the colours so far. Now this actually was one of the first videos I did when I got my newer camera, which is my Canon R6. Before that, I've done a lot of my jobs with my original M100, Canon M100. Now guys, yes, that's a separate video altogether about, yes, I turned up with an M100, which is a tiny camera, but it's amazing what you can get out of these things. But from that, in the end, what I decided to do is I went back on, I bought some fabric, and I literally just eyeballed the fabric up with the background. Now these, like I said at the start, by doing the research and product research, I realised that every single beer that they have has a particular colour background. So it had to be something what I wanted close. I just took a screenshot, looked at it, and luckily it came in good enough that I could adjust it enough in post. So it just shows you, just keep trying, keep playing it, and it worked. I was very happy with the result. So yeah, so let's play. Boom. So as you can see, straight away we then go into the close-up, which I really like this. I've got a rotary table, a little electric rotary table I bought for when I was doing these kind of things, and I just wanted it to come around, show the Jamestown, and I wanted the water, the refreshing, that kind of jazz. Now for this, I'd been told that in the game they use glucose. Now I found this from the baking aisle in the shop. Now I can't tell you if it works as good as what it's supposed to work, but the idea of it is by putting that in and mixing it up and using a spray bottle onto the can, it would bead a lot better on the can. That was the concept behind it. I didn't try it without, by the way. I believe it will just streak a lot more. But again, in this you can see I wanted to get the drop coming down, and that's the piece I took, and overall a really crisp shot. We're really happy with this. It was really punchy. Obviously my new camera, we're using 4K for the first time, so really happy with the shot. So it's as you can see, that's pretty cool. But again, by trying these things, these are things that you're learning as you're going through. So the next shot, right, I'm going to stop on this shot. The pouring of the can. I think it serves its purpose, this shot. If I had to say what's my least favourite shot in the entire one, it's this. And I tried a lot of different things with fancy transitions, and I think sometimes we can get lost in transitions. I don't hate the shot of how it looks, it just feels a bit flat. It just doesn't feel it flows as good as the rest of the shots. But I had a lot of issues when I was colour grading it. It seemed to just feel a little bit, I don't want to say artifacted, but it was grainier than the rest of them, and I just couldn't get it out. But the colours are punchy and things like that, and again, it served its purpose. We work with what we've got, so that is how we did that. And then again, like I'm saying, it serves its purpose. It moves on into the next frame, which if we come down, we have the can that is obviously falling through. Now this in itself made my house an absolute mess. Unfortunately for me, I only have in the Canon R6 120 frames, and I suppose this is another thing what kind of comes around to understanding that when you get into these things, we always talk about the perfect camera, and I'll do another video on this because it's quite interesting. When you're first getting into it, you're thinking more money means a better camera, but there's purpose for every camera you have. But unfortunately in my camera I only have 120 frames. If I had a Sony a7S III, I would have taken advantage at the 240 frames. Now I don't know if I'd had enough light power in order to do that, but I'd damn well give it a good go. Maybe I could have tried and turned the shutter speed up maybe, and tried to add some frames in post, I mean, that's something, do you know what, I might try and experiment on that. I've said that for quite a while to myself, but never done it. Would doing that, especially with how good the, I use DaVinci Resolve, but how good it is at adding frames in that, even if you don't have those frames, and try using it. I think that'd be a good experiment to try. Yeah. So, but again, how I did this was literally putting fruit on a board, chucking it up in the air, and then ducking down really quick. And the fruit that I chose was, again, going back to the research, it was, I believe, papaya, if I'm saying that right, papaya. It was pineapple, and I believe it was something else. It was like a Japanese fruit, but they didn't have that in at the time. But that's the fruits that I decided to use for it. So to the normal person, they might not have noticed that and whatever, but to the company, they might have, you know what I mean, they might have known. So, but that's something what I use, and it also gives you ideas when you're doing this research. These are the ideas where they come from. But yeah, so I chucked the fruit up and did that in one shot, and I dropped the can into basically a cushion underneath on the second shot, and I literally just magic masked it out in DaVinci and just put them both together. I think I actually mirrored some of the fruits to give it a little bit more. But yeah, I like the idea of the falling, which then leads into the next two shots, which are, to be honest with you, my two favourite shots in the entire thing. So it falls down, bam, it just literally hits into that water. Now, in my head, these were the falling shot I had in my head, which were a bit more close up, but the falling shot, I don't know how I thought it was going to happen, but in my head, it didn't have water. I never thought about the water. I just thought it was going to fall into fruit, and fruit would have a splash everywhere, kind of fall in. In practice, guys, that didn't work. It just didn't work at all. It just literally landed flat onto it and just squashed the fruit. And I had a moment of thinking, oh my God, this is not working. I don't know what I'm going to do. But for this, luckily, and this is probably coming on to the next point, buying props. So we're talking about, like, obviously buying the fruit, but what I actually bought, I went onto Facebook Marketplace and I bought a fish tank. That's right, a fish tank, because that's what I wanted to use for the shot after this. So I decided to have my chopped up fruit, fill it with water to give it, obviously, the medium to be able to fall through. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm absolutely buzzing off it. The thing is as well, the fish tank thing from Facebook, I spent £25 on it, but I sold it for £15. And when you think about it in that sense, it's cost me a tenner to have these two amazing shots, which, quite frankly, I find I'm very proud of, very creative. You can see how hard I was pushing the colours as well, because there's a little bit of papaya over here, or papaya, however you want to call it. And you can literally see right there, I've broken it down. I was pushing the colours so hard. But again, that's me still trying to learn. I suppose in the fast motion you don't really notice it that much. But again, super cool. Going into the next shot, which is, I'll actually put a shot of this on screen when I was trying to drop it in. I kept on dropping it in, it was hitting the bottom, I was trying to get the bubbles, and I just kept on doing it until I got a good shot. It's not as easy as you can imagine. But I'm not going to lie to you, I think this is one of my favourite shots in the entire thing. Like I said, just a small fish tank. I had to be very careful messing around with it, but yeah, I think that was super cool. I don't know about you guys, but I was so proud of that shot. I was so proud of that shot. So, and then yeah, I wanted it to kind of like come out and come into the beer, and I wanted it to overflow. That was exactly what I wanted. I had to boost the beer up in post. The colour of the beer was very dull. I couldn't get it, and sometimes lighting glass can be a bit of a pain in the bum. I've noticed that every time I've ever worked with glass, it's not something that is an easy thing to work with. But again, it's that whole thing of just keep rinsing, repeating, and playing with it and trying to learn what works and like that, and coming onto YouTube and going online or reading books and trying to really understand how you can do this. But a big source, by the way, guys, is a great way to get around that, even if it's using things like foam board and things like that. Just really get as much area on that as you can, so it doesn't look like it's just a piece of white, if you like, or a little bit. You can see the reflection. You kind of trying to reflect the white as if it is a light, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much that, guys. And then obviously going into the hero shot, and then back onto what I was saying in the sense of, you see the table right now, it's a reflective table. Now, I probably have some photos, I may have some photos of when I'm taking the original shots with the red background, and if you can see on that, I don't know if I can, I will put it on, but I was using some like a wooden effect. I wanted it kind of like a bar. That's in my head how I had it originally, it'd be on a bar. Maybe I could have used that. I don't think that would have been anything bad. I think the actual reflection adds something to it, though, if I'm honest with you. I think it fills up a lot of that space, and I think it does add something to it. So yeah, that's kind of where that was. But again, a good old hero shot at the end. I think there's nothing wrong with that. With all the fruits. Again, I'm missing an ingredient, but they weren't in season, so I couldn't get none, unfortunately. I didn't want to mess around by getting some fake ones. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much what it is in a nutshell. Again, I just want to kind of bring back around to this, the spec ads and what they can do. And I'm kind of coming around as a summary, because if you noticed in what I've gone over in the last things, just to kind of put it out, which is your research, storyboarding, what we've got down, backdrop, how to put some shots together, how to understand how to, like saying the two shots together, how do I do that? The fish tanks and all these kind of things, buying things in order to make things work, so it's not charging money, selling it back on, and understanding what hero shot. The list is endless in all these kind of things that we come away and we learn, and it's a great way to put everything together and try and understand and plan. And I think it's such a great exercise, and it's getting you ready. It's great for a portfolio, like I've said before, and it's also great for getting ready for handling customers or clients and things like that, so you can actually, when you're doing this in the real world, you understand what are the steps you will be following in order to do this. So it's a great way to elevate your thing. And guys, if you're needing some tips, just emulate what you see. Emulate some of the things. Maybe you're seeing a Coke can, but you said, you know what, I don't want to use Coke, I'll use Fanta. It could be something as simple as that. It could be something, one of your favourite drinks. Use something what you like. I mean, what have you got any other hobbies outside of this? It could be you're doing it for the cameras, a camera, a lens, or whatever. Go online, look, do your research on these things. And if you can emulate, that's fine. You've still got to do things, putting that storyboard together, and all these kind of things are going to make you better. And I'll tell you right now, at the end of it, apart from it being good fun, stressful at times, but you don't learn without a little bit of that. But not only that, it's just a good laugh, and you'll be so proud of that end product. Like, I'll look at this, and I'm so proud of this today. This is a few-year-old. Yeah, guys, spec ads. Check it out, have a go. Honestly, I implore you to have a go, and it doesn't have to be something massive. It can be something really small. It can be simple. Make it up, whatever. We had some headphones me and my friend put together to make some headphones. Hardly ever sold any. I don't think we sold any at all, but I used that as a spec ad when I first got in. I think that was done before on my old camera. I'll show that, a very simple thing, and some things I learned from that. But honestly, just give it a whirl. It's something that could really help you, and you can learn a lot of stuff about the craft. There you guys, if you've made it all the way to the end, thank you very much. Again, yeah, we'll see you in the next one, hopefully. Unsure what that might be, but if you've got any questions or anything, chuck them in the comments, and I'll hopefully see you soon. So bye for now.